Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today we're taking a look at my crowd control mag build. Now this isn't a mag build which you're going to use in every single mission. Mag definitely has some better uses than this build. However, it's a pretty fun build and I wanted to show it anyway because, you know, why not? Let's make mag a little bit more played in the community by newer players because not a lot of people like mag after her rework, and I'm not going to lie, she was way better before her rework. That's just my opinion. Even though she can still output a ton of damage, but like, you know, it's just not as what's the word I'm trying to say here? Efficient, I guess you could say. It's just not, you know, as good as it used to be, but whatever. We're going to talk about the build today, and the build is based around her first and her fourth ability, so her pull and her crush, and it basically just abuses range and efficiency for a super awesome, you know, crowd control. So we have max range on with overextended stretch and cunning drift. We have vitality on here for some health, streamline and fleeting for the max efficiency we can get. One from the top on both of them because, you know, might as well have a little bit of duration for our other abilities if we want to use them. Intensify on here for a little bit of damage because why not? You can obviously change this here out for one an augment or something. Completely your choice. You can throw this here on like that there. Completely fine, even though it doesn't match the polarity. Doesn't really matter. You still have enough space. Prime Flu on here for your energy, and then again, Prime Continuity, you can change this here out, but I just have this on here because why not, you know? So, not a 100% practical build like I just said at the beginning of the video, but hell, it is pretty fucking funny. Let's go ahead and spawn in and kill 20 butchers with our pull ability. You're all going to be level 20. The level doesn't really matter. They're still affected by the crowd control the same way. So, you press your 1, they all get ragdolled, you know? Same with the guys over here. You know, if you could see them, you pull them. You know, you can pull them off like so. Okay, never mind. I fell off the map, but it's pretty awesome ability because in the sense you can just kind of press 1 and make any enemy that's running towards you ragdoll. It's pretty good for newer players because not every newer player is going to know what every single enemy in the game does, right? So if they get caught off guard by something that an enemy does, they can just hit their 1, ragdoll them, and then sort of figure out what to do with that enemy. Or, you know, shoot their weak spot or something. Pretty cool, right? Mag, early game at least, is kind of based around just crowd controlling all the enemies, you know? Whenever you get to the later game, that's whenever you start to make use of her other abilities, like her Bullet Attractor, or is otherwise known as Magnetize now, and her Polarize. But for now, it's kind of just based around that crowd control, right? You can basically just spam this and keep on crowd controlling those guys, and you can also kill them. Not to mention that, you know, this is a pretty good build versus level 20s, of course, but if you get up to like the level 145s, the crowd control effect still stays the same. Obviously, you're going to deal a lot less damage because of the enemy armor scaling and stuff, but you can still crowd control them the same way. You can also use that augment, the crushing augment, which will like take away some of their armor if you use crush. So crush kind of just looks like this here. You pick them all up, you crowd control them, and this pairs well with other frames like Nova. Say they're M-primed, which basically makes all the enemies slower. Whenever they're, you know, trying to get up, they're going to be very slow trying to get up. So I use, sometimes I use this build in raids. It just depends on the grip that I'm running with and if I want to meme around, you know. So, you know, there's that. It's a pretty fun build, not going to lie. Obviously, these other abilities, they still work. You can still use them. Use your Magnetize bubble, and that'll pull everyone in, and you can kill people like this, which is actually pretty amusing. And then, obviously, that's going to deal a decent amount of damage based on all the enemies that you kill in there and all the projectiles that go in, which is pretty fun and cool. Makes like a big ass explosion once the duration goes down. Kills everything around it. You know, that was level 145 enemies. Keep that in mind as well there. So that's pretty cool. And then your Magnetize still works a little bit. You don't have, not Magnetize, sorry, your Polarize still works a little bit. You don't have a shit ton of, you know, duration or anything, but you can still like strip the armor off, you know, light units like these guys right here, which is pretty nice, you know? It's a nice sort of perk to have on there. Obviously, whenever you swap up to something like heavy gunners or something, the story becomes a lot different. So let's go ahead and spawn in 20 of these guys. These guys are a lot harder to sort of deal with, because they can just instant ult you, right? So you want to make sure that you have these guys crowd control. Your Polarize, it's not going to strip as much armor. You kind of have to spam it to strip all their armor, and you have to spam it a lot. Because you have like little to no power strength on this build apart from the intensify, so it's not really going to work in that sense. Your what's this called again? What's it called? I forget what it's called. It's called something. Refractor? Magnetize? There you go. Magnetize. So you can just kind of stand in it, and then they won't be able to shoot you as long as they're in the bubble. I love this ability for this fact right here. Okay, and then you die, because obviously the explosion doesn't do a lot of damage, but, you know, that's a pretty cool quirk in its own, just being able to put a bubble down, stand in that bubble, and then take no damage, you know? It's, pretty fun, and then you can obviously recast it, and then kind of just stay here, and be super fucking invincible, unless they melee you. If you get too close to enemies and they melee you, then you're gonna die. But yeah, it's a pretty fun build, just to mess around with as a newer player, or someone who just wants to sort of try out mag, I guess, because, you know, why not? And, you know, keep the crowd control up, do all that stuff, we still die. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button below. You want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.